So last Friday, oh yes, last Friday was all about active speakers. Now I screwed up big time because I didn't specify what I was talking about, in that I referred to the problems of active speakers and I meant audiophile oriented active speakers, not all kinds of active speakers. And a lot of people jumped on me talking about pro active speakers, that they dominate the pro market, meaning speakers with built-in amplifiers, and I was talking about audiophile oriented speakers with built-in amplifiers and how I thought they were never really going to take hold. And because of that confusion about pro and audiophile, I decided this time to try to clarify what I'm talking about here. What is the difference between an audiophile speaker and a pro speaker, right? So let's start with audiophile. Audiophile people are people who are interested in sound quality, and audiophile speakers are made by speaker companies that are catering to the audiophile market. That is, people who prioritize sound quality over convenience and sometimes even aesthetics, etc., etc. So the audiophile market is as such, right? The pro market is slightly different because pros aren't really listening for pleasure. Pros are listening to hear faults in recordings that they're recording, mixing, mastering on, or doing live sound. They need a speaker that's ruthlessly revealing and tells them what's going on, right? Those are different goals. Now, in some other galaxy, there may be audiophile speakers and pro speakers that are the same thing, but not usually in this case. Now, there are examples of crossover between pro and audiophile active speakers, but just for the time being, let's just go with the flow that audiophiles' needs are different than pro needs, right? And the other thing is, and part of my rant about why I don't think active speakers will catch on with audiophiles, is that audiophiles are obsessed with things like matching amplifiers to speakers and changing amplifiers, and I want a tube amplifier, and I want a solid state amplifier, maybe a class A or a class D. They like mixing it up. With the amplifier that's stuck inside the box in an active speaker, it can be of questionable quality. You don't know what it is, and last time I checked, no one is ever trying to sell an amp that was part of an active speaker and sell it as a separate amp, because they're not that good as amplifiers, right? Anyway, check last Friday's video to go down that rabbit hole. Let's just try to stay on this track now. So the pro market is about active speakers almost exclusively, and they're going to be used in monitoring situations where the engineers need to hear exactly what's going on in the recording. Audiophiles are listening for pleasure. Now, and this has nothing to do with expensive speakers. I mean, I've pointed out many times that Andrew Jones has designed some phenomenal, affordable speakers that are designed with the audiophile in mind, like the Pioneer SP BS22 LRs that are currently about $95 a pair on Amazon. But he also designed the $80,000 TAD reference speaker. So he's all over the place in terms of building and designing speakers for different price levels. He doesn't just make very high-end speakers. He doesn't make just very affordable speakers. He puts his talents into pretty much every price range imaginable, and I think that's fantastic. Now, the TAD reference, when it came out, I think was also being marketed to very wealthy engineers, because it was sold as something as a ruthlessly revealing studio monitor. So there are crossovers in the B&W 801 and various speakers along the way, but most of the time, audiophile speakers go for audiophiles, pro speakers go to professionals, and that's pretty much the way it breaks out. I'm just trying to clarify what is the difference between the speakers. Now, I don't want to go that way. So then just to throw more definitions into the mix here, then we have high-end speakers. Now, some people confuse the term audiophile with high-end, and they use them interchangeably. I have a problem with that because an audiophile speaker, as I just gave the example with Andrew Jones, audiophile speakers have to be expensive. The original Pioneer, the BS22LRs, are $95 a pair. That is an audiophile speaker through and through. But what it isn't, it is not a high-end speaker. High-end speakers, like, I don't know, high-end cars or high-end watches or high-end golf clubs or whatever, they're expensive. That's what high-end means. So you can have an audiophile speaker that is also a high-end speaker because it's an expensive speaker. So I'm trying to break that train I see coming towards me all the time where people mix up high-end and audiophile. It could be the same thing, but frequently they're not. And then throw in one other category is lifestyle speakers. Now, lifestyle speakers, which are almost exclusively active, like, well, I guess it would be, the best example would be Sonos. Sonos is a huge company in the audio world, at least, and they make lots and lots of speakers that millions and millions of people love, and they're very pleasant sounding speakers, but they're not really audiophile speakers in that they're not designed to be blunt about it, they're not designed to be listened to, they're designed for background music. I'm painting with a broad brush here, and I'm sure there are people out there who love their Sonos speakers and listen attentively to them. But I get the feeling, I've been around this business for a while, that most people buy Sonos and they stick them in the bathroom and they stick them in the basement or the garage or whatever, and they just sort of have music on, and it's ambient music, you know, it's just sort of there filling up space. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm not putting it down. I'm just saying it's not designed as an audiophile-oriented product. So there we go. We have audiophile speakers, we have pro speakers, we have high-end speakers, we have lifestyle speakers. And I think that those distinctions are not that hard to grasp, right? So there you go. Now, it was definitely my bad that when I did my anti-active speaker rant on Friday, that I will link to directly below, I wasn't clear that I was talking about specifically audiophile speakers, because, like I said, everybody jumped on me that pro speakers are active and how wonderful they are. That's true, but I'm not addressing pros for the most part on this YouTube channel. I'm talking to audiophiles, hence the name, The Audiophiliac Daily Show, which is what this is. My name is Steve Guttenberg, and I am your host. If you like this sort of thing, please subscribe to this YouTube channel. When you subscribe, hit that little notification bell. Give me a thumbs up every now and then if you actually like these videos. Share them with your audiophile or professional friends. And I hope to see you back here again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.